Kane's World, Kane's World, part-time, totally.
Welcome to Kane's World 2.4. I got a good friend with me, producer, engineer, just a Pro Tools master. Known him for a while. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's going on, world? It's your boy Joey French, big homie from Indianapolis, Indiana, born and raised, representing for the producers around the world. What's going on?
What up with you, man? Big
Man,
homie.
nothing much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yeah, man. I had to have you on here, man. I mentioned you in the 2.2 episode and had to have you on for sure.
Oh, yeah. Man.
You're a staple. A lot of people might not know because, you know, the game changes. I own a studio, obviously, and a lot of young dudes. I'll mention some OGs in the game. They're like, who? I'm like, oh, man. You know, it happens, especially with producers.
Yeah.
But if you're anybody that knows anybody, everybody knows you, man. You've been doing it. That's a question I have actually on my notes here. How long have you been doing it?
Man, see, I started, wow. And I just want to clarify, I've been making beats.
For money.
Oh, for money. See, my first situation though, like once I got like my first piece of equipment, a good rapper, good friend of mine, Preeny Mo, he's a legend across Indianapolis. That's the first person I ever sold a beat to. I was in Guitar Center at the age of 18, just graduating from high school. I met him a year before I graduated, and I had played some beats for him through my uncle. Beats, they weren't where they needed to be at the time.
Yeah.
So, but, he kept me encouraged, keep doing your thing. And around this time, he had Nat Town Riders and,
Oh,
First
yeah.
Person.
Everybody knows that record.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Big record.
That didn't snap on me when you said his name.
Oh, yeah. Preeny Mo, man. He's a legend. So, all you rappers out there, like, you cannot rep indie without repping Preeny Mo. So, I definitely want to put that out there. It's my responsibility to let y'all know who's hot, who's doing it before y'all, and just paying homage. But Preeny Mo, definitely kept me encouraged, and he saw me the following year, and I was playing some beats in Guitar Center, and from there, he asked
You was
me.
oxed in or what?
Yeah.
Joe's, I'm going to Guitar Center.
Right.
Bro, is that not like one of the low-key best places to network?
Yes. I mean, and this is around the time when they just had, I'm pretty sure they still like have just keyboards out, but this is when you could actually bring your memory card up there and actually, perform. So that's what I was doing. I was just making beats on the fly, and he happened to be there, and he recognized me from the barbershop, and he could tell I kind of grown, and he kept pacing back and forth. And then finally he said, how much you want for them 2 beats? And I'm 18, so I really don't know.
Yeah, you had no clue. You're like,
Right.
oh, $10.
But that situation changed my life. He gave me $500 right on the spot for 2
Oh,
beats.
then you realize your worth. You're like, oh,
Right.
wow.
So it was a goal from that point on, because I could see the possibilities of what it could turn into. So shout out to Preeny Mo. Like I said, he kind of took a lot of liking into me, and it kind of set the stage of how I kind of moved around indie. But I've been making beats since I was 17. But professionally, actually producing, I've been producing since 2010, so a little over 10 years now.
Yeah, a decade. That's about what it's been for me engineering. But I would say you probably had a little more precursor than I had.
Yeah.
Where are you producing out of now? You did a home situation? I know you mentioned Airborne to me once.
Yeah. So I just move around from studio to studio, but where I really get a lot of my ideas of just locking in and just getting a lot of the my best ideas usually comes out of just working out of my home basement and going from there.
Get
and
comfy, kick the shoes off.
Yeah. You don't want to be in a situation where you got your guard up and what I'm saying. It's a lot of comfortability at the crib.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna ask you a question I already know the answer to, but this is more of a for the producers that are going to watch this and they're wondering, DAW wise.
Yeah.
I know that you use Pro Tools majority, right?
Yeah.
Did you always use Pro Tools? I guess my question.
So I've been using Pro Tools since I want to say 2001. They had a program at my high school at one of the career centers, and it was digital audio visual editing. The acronym is DAVE. So that's when I was introduced to Pro Tools, and prior to that, I was using Cakewalk. So that kind of lets you know my age a little bit. I was using Cakewalk, but
Familiar with Cakewalk?
Yeah. So, but I was introduced to Pro Tools my junior year of high school, and the workflow was right. Even then it had like just a different type of swing in Pro Tools as far as like the sound that was coming out of that. And at the time, my beats, they were real basic.
And that's what I'm glad you just said, because that's what I was kind of digging into. Because I
Yeah.
like to be, informational. And, people always ask, what's the difference in DAWs? And you go to YouTube, 90% of people are like, oh, it's all the same. It's just preference. It's not true, man.
No.
Like Logic, I would say that Logic is almost better for vocals. And then Fruity Loops could be a really good tool for making beats with that snappy, you get a lot of hi-hats and kicks.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then Pro Tools is more like your workhorse, does it all.
Right. And just kind of explain my workflow. I went from working in hardware, my first piece of equipment was a Yamaha Motif, and then from there I went to the MPC.
Is that where you put the, it wasn't even the USB drive then, was it?
Nah, it was a SD card.
Oh, yeah.
It's an SD card.
Out here.
So
like
a lot of
Kanye-ish.
yeah, exactly. It was still very much SCSI drives, disc,
What was your first favorite MPC? You were like, oh, yeah, man, I'm doing it.
the 2500,
What brand is that?
Akai.
Akai? That's
Akai.
what I assume.
Yeah.
Akai.
So Akai MPC 2500, and then from there I went to Reason.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And then I spent a year with Reason. Shout out to Chad Wells. You know what I'm saying? He's another producer from Indy that's definitely doing this thing. When I got Reason, just learning the workflow of that, he helped me with that. So after a year of being on Reason, I got my first placement, and that was with Waka Flocka on the Flocka Belly album.
Oh, what song?
Rumors.
Really?
Rumors, yeah.
Was it produced by you?
Yeah, produced by me. And it was a crazy situation where, my agent, he was down in Atlanta. Shout out to JC Kidd. He was working at Patchwork at the time, and he's seeing Gucci, he's seeing Waka, he's seeing a lot of the artists around the scene come through Patchwork. And he happened to have my beat CD, and I'm thinking when I get a placement, it's going to be done right. He's going to hit me up. Next thing I know, I'm about to sell the beat.
Don't tell me the song was out.
No, the song was out. I was about to sell the beat, but I didn't know. It just so happened my cousin, he said, hey, man, don't sell that beat. My football players, they listen to it in the locker room. I think Waka did something to your beat. Sure enough, we pulled the song up on YouTube, and it was my beat. And so I'm calling.
What kind of agent is that?
Yeah, well, apparently that's how it is in Atlanta. You just send a beat CD and you just let it fly. And
Yeah, I guess. So that's another light we need to shine on producing
Yeah,
too. A lot of uneducated things on how the
Yeah.
pie is split up and
Right,
that
man.
way.
You kind of have a vision in your head of how everything is going to go, even
Yeah.
from the business end and how you're going to meet people. It's like your preparation can be what you think it is, but it's so far left in that, But the blessing is that I had a good team around me between my agent. Shout out to Bernie Watkins. She's a well-known attorney down in Atlanta. She
Nice.
She did right by me, and from there, even meeting Waka to explain I'm the producer that made the beat. I had the stem files on me, and it's just
all they do it.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. And again, even with that, just meeting Waka and looking on YouTube and seeing the persona, but then meeting him, and he's somebody I felt like I would have met.
So how long until your next placement after that first one? Was it a while or was it instant?
You know what? It did take a while. Because with the first placement.
And what year was that?
Yeah, so
The first one, the Walker one. What year?
that was March of 2010.
Okay. And
So I
then-
found out I got the placement in March of 2010. So it was just a mixtape record. But then I believe Asylum got a new president, and he wanted that record on the actual album. So the album came out September of 2010. That was actually on the deluxe version. So it was basically like a bonus record.
Deluxe.
Deluxe. Yeah.
It's not a thing no more, really.
Right.
I mean, I guess some people do it. But.
Right. So, but it was cool seeing that transition from, working a day job into I got this placement. Evidently, I need to be moving around, and, I had to make that harsh decision of quitting my job and just committing full time to music.
That's a mother, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's, as scary
when
as
you
it
dive
was.
all in.
Right.
I think it's the best thing that can happen to you as, someone
Right.
who's in the music world is, all right, this is the direction. And then
Absolutely.
once you hit, when your bills are due, there's a weird gear that kicks in.
Yeah.
For
sure.
And then it ain't even like marketing gear. It's like, I'm just going to be better at what I do and let the work speak for itself.
Right. And you just kind of learn day by day. You can,
I still learn.
Yeah.
Chris showed me something yesterday on Pro, a simple button right in your face and didn't even know what it did.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, and to all the producers out there, engineers, songwriters, you all work in Pro Tools as well. Like when you learning your gear, it's a never ending
Yeah,
story.
especially with the plugins that always are coming out.
Right.
And
Right.
see, that's what I love about it, to be honest. It's always, every day is never the same. That's
Yeah.
a treat when you're working in the music business.
Yeah. So it took maybe, I want to say almost like a year and a half before I got like my next placement.
Okay.
Shout out to M80 Mark Markoff. He took a lot of liking into my work.
Yeah, I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah, man. Like
What is he? Is he a...
he's an A&R. He was A&R.
was
Like
wondering.
he's he was rapping. I think he still raps, but in the industry, mostly everyone knows him as a A&R.
Okay.
But he
Yeah,
took
the
a lot
second
of,
placement, though. What happened with it?
yeah. Let's see. It was an unreleased record, I think, with Wayne, and then shortly after that, like 2 Chainz. That's when
Man,
he
get
was,
out of here, bro.
Yeah, it was.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and then from that,
It's my favorite artist of all time.
yeah, no,
Like any genre, Lil Wayne.
yeah, Lil Wayne, man,
Goat.
and I felt like there was a connection there because I grew with Wayne. It was like,
Well, especially what year was it? Like 12?
so this is late 2011.
Yeah,
Late
that's like
2011.
prime time Lil Wayne.
Yeah, like this is Carter 4 Wayne.
You're like right after Carter 3.
Yep.
You're thinking, oh, I made it.
Yeah.
You heard Lil Wayne on your vocals on your beat, bro?
Right. And actually to have the vocals and build the soundtrack around.
Did you freak out or no?
You know what? I did. But then at the same time, you learn real quick. And again, this is to all my producers out there, is like focus on the task at hand.
Yep.
Don't get starstruck. Don't get caught up in all the hype, because once that happens, you just shot yourself in the foot.
I tell people all the time, like, the whole Starstruck thing, like you said, is very real.
Yeah.
Like, with me working at Azimuth, I've seen a lot of national artists come in and out.
Yeah.
And, I never got starstruck, and I kept my composure. But there's one person I'd probably lose it over. It's Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne. Yeah.
It's funny because I tell people that. I was like, yeah, I'm never starstruck, but the one person you might see me, look like a goddamn
Right.
fanboy is Lil Wayne.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes,
And I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
That's dope. Even
Yeah.
even if the record didn't go super far, it just to hear his vocals,
Yeah. Yeah. So again, shout out to M80, for setting that up. Shout out to Derek Zico. He's another engineer that I've worked with for a while. Over at Baumwater Studio. So
Baumwater Studio.
Yeah. So those years between 2011, 2013, a lot
Is that
of
still a
good-
place?
Yeah.
I've never heard of it. They're more private?
Very, very exclusive. Very
Okay.
exclusive.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No, nothing wrong
I actually
with that.
prefer those studios.
Yeah, but that was my first time actually working in a team environment where I play a position,
Yeah.
and then from there it's
Like
just
executive producing going on.
yeah, or really just letting 80 do his thing, and Zico, he's more so on the boards. I'm on the drum machines, keyboards, and then I'm also bringing other fellow
It's very
producers
nice
in.
because you get really used to having to do everything yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
So in that situation, I learned how to delegate work and just how to be a team player in that situation.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about something.
Sure.
And me and, once again, shout out to UG, we were talking about jingles and, how to get TV placements.
Yeah.
I want to dive into publishing a little bit because I feel like a lot of are uneducated on that. It's probably the number one question I get, like what is publishing? What does it mean? How do you get it? What's the versions of it?
Yeah.
I feel like if anybody could elaborate this to educate people, it's you.
Yeah, so most producers in the game, looking at 2023 right now, they're going more for a publishing deal. They're called admin deals.
Okay.
And this is where you kind of bet on yourself, where you still get an advance, whatever that number is, but you take in 85-15
From a publishing company.
from a publishing company.
So does a publishing company have to reach out to you or do you reach out to them?
Definitely, you got to be banging out those hits.
Right.
Definitely got to be banging out those hits.
I wanted to make that a point.
Yeah. So definitely, you got to be working. You definitely got to be in the network. And then definitely you got to school yourself on the game too.
So it's kind of get like signed to a label as a producer is you're looking to get signed by publishing
yeah, right. But you're
or an agreement with publishing. not
right.
signed.
You're in this
It's not
situation.
it's not a signing. It's more of an agreement on percentages.
Right. And then you have your traditional publishing deals where you're signed to a deal, and this is where you have to learn the terms and conditions. $250,000.
Dig into it. That's why we're here.
It sounds nice, but you have to understand the terms and conditions. So if they sign you for, let's say, a 7 to 8 song deal,
Okay.
understand what that is. That's 100% songs written and produced by Joey French. So even though I don't write lyrics, my 7 songs turns into 14 now, because I always have to collab with songwriters. I have to collab with
Okay.
other producers. Whatever
As in
they-
points getting split.
as far as points, So again, multiples of 7. If there's 7 records that they want, then that could turn into 14, 21, so on and so forth.
You know I write hooks, right?
Yeah,
Self-plug.
absolutely. Hey, there you go.
All right,
there
great
you go.
hooks.
So yeah, it's just really just understanding what that is. But like publishing, just to simplify things, that's the money that's going to send your kids
Okay.
to college.
So I'm going to ask you something. You might look at me like you know the answer, but I'm going to ask you from a standpoint that someone might not know.
Mm-hmm.
So, say if I'm banging out hits and the
Yeah.
publishing company reaches out to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Since you've done that road and alley, do you have any advice on the steps you should take? Should you lawyer up? What should you looking to do right after that?
Don't sign anything until you have an attorney look at the paperwork. I'll say that again. Do not sign anything without an attorney looking at the paperwork.
You see, I asked, should you lawyer up?
Yes. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
I know a couple of people that didn't have a lawyer and a record blew, and they got smoked.
Absolutely.
Absolutely got smoked.
Because again, you hear these horror stories about, I signed a bad deal.
It happens every day, B.
Right.
And here's another thing a lot of people I feel like don't realize is no deal is the same.
No deal is the same.
No deal is the
situation
same. So like somebody could be like, oh, they got a 360 or they got this, you're putting everybody in one big pile. Like no
Right.
deal, even on one label per artist, is never the same.
Right,
They have
exactly.
negotiations and lawyers go back and forth.
Yeah.
So,
And you have to understand, you signing a publishing deal versus your friend signing a publishing deal, it's all based off of your situation.
Correct.
If it works for your situation, then sign the deal. I can't be the one to say that's a bad deal. And this is why you lawyer up. The lawyer, she or he's going to tell you what you're entitled to. It's up to you and your team to decide if this is the route that you want
Right.
to go.
your lifestyle,
Yeah.
all that, your
Yeah.
situation with the studio. Do you have access?
Mm-hmm.
There's a million things that go into it, but y'all get it. I want to ask you about the ESPYs, man.
Yeah.
I seen a picture of you on the ESPN runway, dude. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna lie, bro. I hit you up the next day, like, bro, plug me in. Joey's like, LOL.
I didn't even
not-
know what it meant yet.
But yeah, exactly. I was just kidding, but
But this is one of those situations where, relationships come
beats
into
for
play.
them?
So I made
like ESPN beats.
ESPN beats for their documentaries.
That's so fire, bro.
on all the ESPN platforms, ESPNU.
Before we leave, we don't have to say him on here, but I need specific episodes so I can be like, oh, it's Joey French beat.
Yeah. So I worked
Yeah.
on making a Pro QB. So that's a documentary that I worked on with ESPN. And that just came out of, close, friendly relationships over the years, just sending work.
Your network
Yeah.
is your net worth.
Right.
It's a real quote from
Yes.
some random guy. It's great. So true.
No, it is so true because, again, that phone call was just, hey, do you have anything that could fit, in the realm of basketball? And, we're working on
So someone
this.
that you knew was like, hey, I know a guy.
Yeah. I know.
Called you.
Right.
It's fire.
But prior to that, let's look at the behavior and the habits before that. I was always cooking up. I was always sending beats. You
always got new beats.
without them asking, like, hey, can you send a pack? It was just, I just sent you a pack. Check it out. So I learned how to be proactive in a lot of cases. It's not like I wrote down a plan and it was like, I'm going to be proactive and get on. It was, just be genuine.
So that's actually a good. I have a lot of young producers that come through here.
Yeah.
And I hit them with that phrase. All right, send me a pack.
Mm-hmm.
And they look at me like I could tell they don't know what that means
Yeah.
specifically. And one thing that I noticed, like coming up, I feel like we could fit each other in the same generation.
Yeah,
of
for
Indianapolis coming up. Our generation of producers and engineers, what that meant was when you send a pack, don't send your whole beat
right.
and untagged. That means send an 8-bar loop with a tag.
Yeah.
So the artist can so your beat won't get stolen. I mean, it can. Engineers can loop it, but we'll dive into how you can return that back anyways.
Right.
Through points and whatever. But anyways, but that's what you do. Send an 8-bar loop or even a 16s where it's got the hook, and and a little bit of verse. But that's what that means. And you can email studios, you can get a hold of people, and you can send them beat packs.
Yeah.
So I get asked all the time from artists, all the time, bro. And I'm not gonna lie, and I'm glad you're here as a producer. I ask producers all the time, like, "Hey, send a beat pack." It just never happens. You know how many? But for all the producers that did send me a beat pack, almost all of their beats sold out of here.
Yeah.
Artists are always looking for beats.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, because the landscape changed. You know, it's like
Because all the beats on YouTube are the same.
there's one of those rare situations where you have somebody that will write on spot and you get to like cook up with them. But
Those are the best sessions.
yeah, those are
The
the
organic
best
ones.
sessions.
Like, hey, let me hear your hook, and you're like doing the BPM, tapping it. Like, okay, well, it's 80,
Yeah.
160.
I mean,
and then you go in with the synth.
a lot of those sessions with Tragic and Dylan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
I'm so glad I got to be a part of those.
yeah, no, like, I mean, Trap Town USA wouldn't be what it is without that session because that was clearly, we were just, Dylan
Everybody
and
was on
I-
the same page.
Yeah, like we were just coming off the Beat Battle wave. And, you know, now Dylan and I, we need a collab, you know?
Yeah, you guys came in first and second, right?
Yeah.
Not to who came in first?
Dylan.
Did that sting a little bit? No.
No, that's-
now that you're older, but fresh off of it, did it?
A little bit.
Like at Asmith as we're working on this beat.
Oh, no, not while we were working.
Okay.
Not while we were working, because, I mean,
I'm
we
just
always
real competitive. If I was an engineering battle and then like we went into a session that was major, like, all right, we're number 1 and 2, but I just came in second.
Yeah, no. Like, I felt
I would have
none of
something
that
to
while
prove.
not while we were working, but I mean, probably even before like the championship beat battle, like we had
You know
already
your
put out
beats,
there,
bro.
right? Yeah,
You
And
know
it's
what?
like,
You know how good you.
you know, two totally different styles, but it was just cool to see in that session like how we just Voltron together.
Yeah, 1 and 2 came together.
yeah, and just kind of
and that's from whoever's voted.
Right.
Whatever. That's
yeah.
That's,
But not like Dylan Prevails. That's my bro. Like I said, like when we entered the session, we were definitely like on the same page.
shout out to Dylan. He was. I tried to get him and Dylan on the same episode, but
Yeah.
you know, people are grown. Dylan will be here.
Yeah,
He will
shout
come.
out to Dylan Prevails. But no, like we went into that session with just an open mind, and he remembered a track I played in the beat battle, and he said, like, man,
Dude,
pull
those
that
beats are
sample up.
different.
Yeah,
because you're battling, right?
because you're battling.
So the beats switch. The BPMs even switched.
Yeah.
Maybe. And it's like when you played me one, I was just like, what is this?
Yeah.
This is a whole new genre.
right.
Joey
Right.
was that fire. Like I was like, bro, I've never heard anything like this.
Yeah,
that's how I felt.
And shout out to Jay Brookins' beat battle, because I would say that was a situation where it pushed you as a producer,
Challenged you.
Yeah, not only to come with your best, but even like being that disciplined to make sure you're about the work.
Yeah.
Because you had to show up with 8 beats like ready to go for each battle. And I was so anal about having new beats every single time. And it just pushed me as a producer to always just have fresh music, always have fresh material. So the further I got,
I
in
might
my
have to
round-
battle.
Right, right. But again, that stemmed from like you bring that same mentality into the studio, you know?
Right.
So it's just kind of like Dylan, like we're boys.
Because every session is a different battle. It's a different
Yeah.
artist with a different vibe.
Yeah.
You know, he might be a singer. This one might be a rapper. This
Yeah.
one might be auto-tuned out.
But you just make sure whoever you're collabing with is up to speed. You know what I'm saying? So whether I'm in the studio with Dylan, Zero, Geechee, you know, shout out to all the producers that I forgot to mention, Legacy.
You know
what
what?
I'm saying?
Before you even finish that, I want, you know, I don't even want to do a list with the locals,
Yeah.
but I want to give you a second to go ahead and you named Geechee, you named
Legacy, Zero.
Zero's fire.
Dark. Yeah. I mean, and again, like
The list is very long,
the list is very long, and it not used to be
but
that
dude,
way.
there's a lot of Indianapolis talent.
Yeah.
Like you don't
Yeah.
need, like if you're an artist watching this, there's a lot of Indianapolis producers that will kill whatever YouTube beat you're about to use. I'm just letting you know
Yeah.
if you want to keep it in-house and local.
Right.
There's a lot. Reach out to me and I'll give you a list of 20.
Yeah.
That'll
for
send
sure.
you beat packs. All
For
right.
sure. But now we're doing
Okay, the next question was, who's your
Well-
top 5 producers of all time?
of all time. So I'm gonna definitely have to go with Timbaland, the Neptunes,
Nice pick.
Dr. Dre,
It's a hard question.
Manny Fresh.
Nice. So we're the same age.
Yeah.
I feel like our fifth is about to be different.
Man. And I'm going to just say it because this person was able to not just be a producer, but also be a mogul. I'm going to go with Jermaine Dupri.
I was gonna say Kanye.
I would have said Kanye, but I guess.
His beats, bro.
Yeah.
Like the Down and Out with him and Cameron.
Yeah.
Down, down. It's a sample, obviously, but the way he just
Yeah.
flips samples is crazy to me, bro.
Yeah. If you ask me my top 7, then yeah.
All right. Yeah.
I would have put Kanye in there.
Tim's
for
in
sure.
there for me. Dr. Dre, obviously, you can't skip that.
Okay.
You know, then I have Kanye instead of him, and then you said the Neptunes. I would have said, you can't say just Pharrell, because the Neptunes made Pharrell better.
Right.
We have almost the same list, and I'm really surprised it's very identical.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because again, it wasn't
It shows
about
our age. We're the same generation is why.
Right. But see, here's the thing. Cats like Pharrell. If you didn't have Pharrell, then we wouldn't have the Odd Futures, Tyler the Creator. We wouldn't have Kendrick. We wouldn't have Travis Scott.
No.
So again, you know,
It's paying a homage thing.
yeah,
back to
it
that.
is paying a homage thing. So it's just for me, when I think about being in high school and what did it for me, I mean, Jay-Z came up with the album every year when I was in high school.
Tim was
So-
a big part of that, and so was Pharrell.
Yeah, for sure. For
I mean,
sure.
basically every producer we just named. Mm-hmm. And then Manny was killing everybody in the South.
Right.
So
Right.
Manny's definitely my top 5 too.
Right. And you see Manny transition from just being straight independent into, you know, coming in with a camp, making tracks to where now everybody in the industry wants to work
I
with
have
Manny Fresh.
I have a random question from you.
Yes, sir.
I was watching do you know who the producer Hitmaker is?
Yeah.
Hitmaker?
Yeah, for sure.
Bro, is that Young Berg?
That is Young Berg. That is Young Berg. And
Bro, why did nobody tell nobody? I had to see a video of him doing an interview, and I was like, that's Young Berg, not
yeah,
Hitmaker.
yeah, prime example of how you can reinvent yourself and have success.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Young Berg,
Yeah, and he produces from a standpoint of he's the guy that
he makes way more money from producing than
Yeah.
he ever did from as an artist.
right, right. But he's the one that's definitely arranging and putting these records together. So he may be in the studio with
executive
Metro,
producing a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
for
I know he
sure.
had one hit. He might have been a 2-hit guy as an artist. He probably realized, you know what, I'm not going back to making beats.
Yeah,
Fuck this.
yeah. He has quite a story. He has quite a story. Shout out to Hitmaker, but you know, he breaks it down to how his how he produces. You know, he necessarily doesn't touch any buttons, but he's able to articulate to a beat maker.
So he's like a DJ Mustard
right,
or a
Right.
Mike Will nowadays.
Right.
Those people deserve that position, though.
Right.
Best believe they'll get on the NPC
right.
if they got to.
And I will say this: the further I got into it, like definitely, it's a personality thing. You know, you got to be
An
the
ego
person.
or
Not-
what works for them.
Yeah, what works for them. So like being able to read the room, like when you walk in, you see like a room full of writers and producers, you know, knowing that studio etiquette, knowing how to conduct yourself, you know, and that's why I'm a firm believer in getting to the studio on time, being there 15 minutes, half an hour before the session starts, because and this is
We
to
share
all the,
that trait.
Yeah, this is to all the producers out there, you know, just knowing those psychological things. The person
Music
that,
is fun, but if you want it to be a career, you need to treat it like a career.
yeah, absolutely. But
I used to every sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. You're
but
good.
every session I had at Azimuth, I would leave my house an hour early.
yeah.
I just, you know why? It really wasn't me thinking of the professional side. It was me trying to mentally prepare myself. Like, okay, you know, is the room clean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those things matter.
Let me test this mic real quick because a chord might be bad.
Yeah.
You know, just if you really love it, you go all out like that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And
And no one has to tell you to. It's just something you do.
usually the person that they see in the room first, that's who they're going to submit to. You know, and if on top of you know what you're doing, you know, I tell a lot of producers and engineers all the time, like whether you're a good engineer or a decent engineer, you never want to be a bad engineer. But
No, you don't.
nah.
Especially not at Canes.
But
Get on that ass, boy.
plug right. But yeah, like at the end of the day, it's like you need to deliver and you need to just be able to make that room comfortable, like for your client.
Yeah, and you slipped a word in there, but it really applies to producers. You said the word submit, and he doesn't mean it as in like a harsh, like, oh,
Yeah.
submit to me. But what he means is I have control of, I want you to feel comfortable that I am
Right.
overseeing this.
Right.
So it's
Like,
not
I
even
got you.
control is not the right word either. It's more of, I want you to feel comfortable that you're spending your money with me
Right.
and obviously I'm doing my job correctly.
Yeah. Well said. So, studio etiquette is everything. Oh, to all the artists, everybody in the music industry, hygiene is a big thing too.
Oh man, I wish I could preach that to a couple
Hygiene
people
is
I
a
know.
big thing.
I'm not gonna call them out, but hygiene is huge.
Yeah.
You know how much money I spend on air fresheners every month? Probably.
Thousands.
No, not thousands, bro. But hundreds.
Okay.
Hundreds of dollars on air freshener and cleaning supplies.
Yeah.
Maybe 1,000 flat when you count toilet paper and everything, like all cleaning supplies.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I'm like thousands. Yes, I feel you on
Yeah,
that. You
but-
need all that.
Yeah, hygiene, it goes a long way, believe it or not, in the studio. And even like with meeting people, have that extra piece of gum in your pocket or, you know what I'm saying? Make sure you wash those pits before you get into the studio. The booth can get a little sweaty. So
You trying to tell me something right now?
No.
I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm just kidding.
You smell nice.
Wow, thank you. Appreciate it. How do people get a hold of you, French?
Yeah, man. You can follow me on Instagram at
You
Joey
right here?
French Music.
Wham.
Yeah, at Joey French Music. You can holler at me through my Gmail, joeyfrenchmusic@gmail.com. Twitter at Joey French Music. Everything at Joey French Music. And if you didn't notice, everything sounds consistent. So Joey French Music, that's pretty much what you're going to catch me on. And then if you just happen to pop up,
Some more gems right there. See how
Yeah.
you said that? Everything's the same.
yeah, everything's
I'm
the
Coach
same,
Kane
consistent.
on YouTube. I'm Coach Kane on Facebook. I'm Coach Kane on Instagram. So just some gems right there for the youngins that's watching, producers especially. This is really for the producers, man.
Yeah,
I had
for
to get the best producer I knew in here. That's Joey.
Right on, man.
I wish Beats. Do you have BeatStars? No.
I don't
Did you
have
veer
a
from that
BeatStars.
because your situation got bigger?
Yeah. It's just one of those things where it's just like when you talk about like getting hits, and having, exclusive records and doing it. And I want to be careful how I say it, but I guess it's the only way I know how to articulate it. But doing things like the right way, especially like when you get attorneys involved, it's like I said, for me, it just
It's more to keep track of.
yeah, it's just more to like keep track of, and it just puts me more in good graces like with the attorneys I work with.
And I wanted to ask a couple more things.
Yeah.
So you have a good, like you explained, lawyer up, publishing. You have a pretty good relationship with TV in
Yeah.
general, not just ESPN.
Yeah.
Do you want to share like what you've been a part of and
Sure. I've been a part of a lot of what's been going on CBS Sports. So just doing a lot
Okay.
of documentary work. Again, that's another one.
just the stuff I watch? I'm a fan of that.
Right,
It's
right.
cool to say that.
Yeah, and just knowing that, okay, I don't just have to submit to the music industry. It can go to television and film and commercials. Last year, I was blessed with the opportunity to work with a director with Southside Film. Shout out to Rodney Lucas. I got the opportunity to work on the Best Buy commercial, Nike commercials. So, just having
Just wow.
opportunities like that and just seeing like, okay, wow, my music fits in this landscape as well. Because hip hop right now
Well,
is
you're real
still-
diverse.
Yes,
I just want
very-
to tell you that as
Thank you.
a fan of your beats. And
Thank you.
Just production overall, even if you're touching vocals, you're very diverse. You could throw we need a country tomato with Joey's there. I could tell you any genre and you'll probably nail it for me.
it's just about appreciating different genres and understanding. Once you
And I think that's big for producers to realize.
is.
Don't get stuck in I
Yeah.
do all these drill beats, or I do all.
I give you a
Try
prime
to-
example. If I'm making a trap beat, I may listen as far as the drum programming to other trap records, but as far as like, melody and different things like that,
swing in general.
the swing in general, like I may listen to psychedelic rock. I may listen to other genres that may spark an idea.
You're always ahead of the curve. If I give you a compliment
Thank you.
in your beats, so like Detroit's artists coming here. I'm not gonna lie, 80% of them do a Detroit type beat. If I told you to make me a Detroit type beat, it wouldn't sound like a Detroit type beat, but it would have something involved that made you remind you of Detroit. And you're always ahead of
Right.
the curve instead of you're always ahead of the wave instead of riding the wave.
A little left to center, I would say, but it would be my own articulation of what that Detroit beat would sound like.
And I've tried to make beats, and I don't know how you can just, you hear something, you put it down in the DAW. I'm in awe every time I see you make a beat. And I'm just like, what? Wish I could do that.
Listen. I just want to say I'm just blessed, and I don't take my talents, my creativity for granted because I know it could be snatched away at any given moment. So what I try to do is just try to push the envelope every time, So if I'm in a room and Zero's in the room, I'm that producer that
Zero's fire
push him. You know what I'm
keys,
saying?
bro.
Oh yeah, like phenomenal.
He's one of the
producer.
best key players. I mean, we've done music for a long time.
Yeah,
He's till this day.
phenomenal producer.
I want to get Zero on here too. If you watch this, Zero, I want you on here.
Yeah, shout out to Zero. But definitely, in most cases when I'm around the youngins like that, I'm big homie. So it's just like, man, like I heard this track from you. I heard this track from you. Try this, and that's why collaboration is so important, whether you're working with different producers or you're working with musicians, because that's another thing too, is can you work with both at the same time? Can you work with just a bass player, but then also work with a fellow producer, you know?
And the engineers are very open to that.
Very open to that. And shout out, let's give a shout out to the engineers, because really they're the ones that's putting these records together. I mean, you guys, y'all, I have to give my hat off to y'all, because y'all making these records sound what they are sounding like, translating the way they're translating. And
I'm a big advocate for engineers getting the respect that producers do.
for sure.
But a lot of producers will look at me like, nah. But if you're really in the real life of the studio grind and really in there, you'll realize that engineers do just as much as producers.
Yeah.
It's just a different walk.
Right.
It is.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, and you just look at the roles, because again, like I make an engineer, but if I know that's your lane and that's what you are expertise in, then it's like, cool, I can manage over here. You can take care of this. And then we just Voltron together and build that project, and turn that over.
Yeah. The best songs are always when the engineer and producer are on the same page.
Yeah.
And the artist, obviously.
For sure. And we've always been like that. I feel like from day one,
I've never had a bad session with you.
Yeah.
Something might have happened, hardware wise, but as far as vibe and seeing the same vision on a record, me and you will always
For sure. Like a lot of those early works with Tragic, like I said, with co-producing with Dylan on that, like those sessions were amazing. And for the records that come out of those sessions and just to see them flourish.
They were before their time, especially for Indianapolis.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, man.
All right, French, I wanted to keep it short and sweet, man.
Yeah.
You've been a great companion on this episode.
Man,
and,
again, thank you for having me.
Hell yeah, man. Everybody go look up Joey French. We're going to hit his info one more time up here. Pause the video. Go look him up. All right, man. Good shit.
Yeah.